Hello everyone, my name is Marshall and I'm starting this vlog to keep track of my progress and to make it easier to share on what I've been working on in my astronomy. So for the first time in a week or two, we had clear skies last night, so at around midnight I decided to get the scope out, took it out to Lake Lynn, and my goal was to try and get an image of Neptune. Given how faint Neptune is, I wasn't expecting much in terms of an image, but I just wanted to do it to say that I, in fact, had a picture of Neptune that I took myself. Though some sources say you can view Neptune with a pair of binoculars, finding Neptune and actually verifying that what you're looking at is Neptune is exceptionally difficult. So to start, I had to decide on some reference stars to find in the viewfinder, and unfortunately there wasn't really any good ones nearby that you can see with the naked eye. I was starting with Jupiter, and from there I decided to use these stars in Pisces 20, 24, and 27, which form this sort of line shape. And from there you can get to Neptune from this this star at the end of that line. So once I had that in the view, which by the way did not show up in the viewfinder, which surprised me a little bit because Uranus is definitely visible in the viewfinder. I was actually looking to see if I could see this configuration right here of stars. So basically it'd be these three stars right next to Neptune. This one being the most faint, but right next to Neptune. So once I had that in the view, this is the view at approximately 40 times magnification using the 25 millimeter lens. So once I had this in view, then I could confirm that this one was in fact Neptune, which though they all the stars kind of look the same at this magnification, you can definitely tell that Neptune is a little bit more blue in color, although only very faintly. So from there, after I confirmed the view, I used my higher powered eyepiece with my Barlow lens to look at it more closely. And as I expected, it's not much to look at as in comparison to other solar system objects, but you can definitely tell that it's blue. It's really fascinating to see this object in real life. Currently, Neptune is about 2.7 billion miles away. For imaging, I attempted using my iPhone camera with the eyepiece mount. This worked well for me for Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus, but unfortunately I was unable to get a direct image of Neptune despite it being visible in the eyepiece. This is likely an issue with the iPhone camera functionality as well as an issue with how well the camera is aligned with the focal point of the eyepiece, which is hard to do by yourself in the dark. With bright objects such as Saturn and Jupiter, it's pretty easy, but the iPhone camera has a hard time focusing on objects that effectively have infinite distance. Fortunately, Neptune was just a little too dim. However, I did manage to image this nearby star, which you saw earlier in the configuration, which is HIP 117112, while trying to get an image of Neptune. This star is slightly brighter than Neptune at 7.25 magnitude compared to Neptune's 7.71, but given that they are close in magnitude, I should be able to get an image of Neptune with the iPhone camera. I also managed to get these star images in the 25mm eyepiece when imaging the blood moon earlier this year, so I believe it's possible when I can get the camera and mount to cooperate. In future attempts to image Neptune, I will likely try using my DSLR camera instead. While it's lower in image resolution, the camera functionality will possibly make it easier to get an image of Neptune. Possibly. I haven't used the DSLR much with the telescope, so I'm not exactly sure if that's the case, but the iPhone 6s camera is not likely much better. After viewing Neptune, I decided to view the Andromeda Galaxy. I had yet to actually see it, and I planned to image it in the future, so I decided to see if I could find it. Andromeda is significantly larger in the night sky than Neptune, but from what I understand, it can really only be viewed under dark skies with a long exposure shot in a camera or with a telescope. So for reference stars for Andromeda, I decided to start with Hamal and Meroc, which are both visible to the naked eye, albeit barely at the light pollution level that I'm at. From there, they kind of form a straight line up to these two stars, 37 Andromeda and 35 Andromeda, both of which were pretty easy to find in the viewfinder after confirming Meroc. So from there, from 35 Andromeda, you just go up a little bit and there's Andromeda. While I could definitely see it, it really only appears as a gray smudge under the light pollution level of 7. So I didn't even bother to try and image it using my iPhone camera. However, now that I know how to find it, I could probably find it without even using my telescope, which will make it an easy target for astrophotography with the DSLR camera. My plan as of now is to go to a friend's place which has a light pollution level of 4 and image it with a DSLR camera using image stacking. This will likely not happen until the end of the month though, since the moon phases drastically affect viewing on objects like Andromeda. While I'm a bit disappointed I didn't get a direct image of Neptune, last night's observation was invaluable in gaining experience finding objects. Astrophotography has a really steep learning curve, and being able to simply find objects means you can spend more time working on the photography aspect. And that's all for now. Clear skies.